Get out, Greg. Do I need to break the habit of using middle finger for clutch and brake? Okay, that's an
Hmm.
interesting one.
Hmm.
Dave, do you know what fingers you using over there?
Triggers. I got my index fingers for
Yeah,
both.
okay.
Yeah.
I would say get out, Greg, that um, sometimes I will use middle finger on my clutch. And it's like, it depends if it's the certain type of a right hand turn, my arm's at the specific angle, I'll use the middle finger, but very rarely. I do find that when I use my middle finger, it kind of pulls my elbows in. So I would say yes, try to do pointer finger more often than not, if you can. I think pointer finger is the move. If you watched Sexton, sometimes will use middle finger on the clutch as well, depending on the corner. But if you watch Jet, pretty sure it's pointer finger everywhere. Brandon White, 199, knee brace or pad. Dave, knee brace or pad. What are you working with right
Pad,
now?
baby, pad. I switched.
Pad.
You told me to switch last year, and I was like, this guy's out of his mind. I went from, and I had like the full blown pro status Axis EVSs.
Mm,
Shout out EVS. And I went to their softer pad, buddy. I'm not going back.
yeah, no, me
Yeah,
neither. I'm a pad guy too.
yeah.
Brandon White, 199. If you haven't tried pads yet, try them. I wear the EVS TP 199, which I'm not even sponsored by them. But by the way, EVS, if you're listening to this, I need some more. Can you just send me some? Please? Thank you.
Mm.
Uh, I put them in the wash and dryer so they get messed up all the time. But even putting them in the washer and dryer, they last quite a bit.
Hmm.
They last for quite a while and they're so comfortable. And I've torn my ACL in a brace and I still feel confident in the pad.
Yeah.
So just personal preference, but
Yep.
yeah, I'm in a pad.
Mm.
Um, ooh, here's a good one. Mall underscore racing MX. I'm big on my bike. How can I have good form? I get asked that often, or I wouldn't say I
Really?
get asked that often. I get told that, hey, I'm too big, so therefore I can't have good form.
Hmm.
And I have to remind the people when they say that yes, you can, but it's just going to be more physically demanding because you're over exaggerating the position more. So like I can hop on a
Gotcha.
KLX 110 and have perfect technique,
Hmm.
but it's exhausting because it's just like I'm going through so much range of motion and I'm constantly in a crazy hip hinge. You're just more physical.
Mm.
Yep. But it's especially important to have good technique when you are tall because if not, I get a lot of kids at class that are just slightly too big on like a 65 or an 85,
I was just gonna ask
but
you.
but yet they'll ride flat-footed with their knees too far forward and it
Yeah.
just makes them look like giants on their bike,
I
you
was
know?
just gonna ask you that. Is there a limit for 85s or 65s or maybe even 125s where you're like, hey, once you get to this weight or size, bump up. Like you can't do that anymore. Do you have parameters like that?
Well, it's tough because
And a very
I
hypocritical question for yourself.
well, yeah. I mean, well, I think that it depends where you're at in your progression. If you're somebody that's really struggling to learn and you're massive on your bike, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're making it way harder than it needs to be.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's helpful for you potentially because you got to do it right if you're big on the bike.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I think that there is something to be said for it's nice to it levels up the riding experience to fit your bike the way that you're supposed to fit your bike.
Hmm.
And yeah, a lot of times, I think what happens is parents get their kids a bike because they're just getting into the sport, and then
Hmm.
they very quickly get too good for the bike, and then they just don't upgrade quick enough.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think there's certain ages like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 where kids are growing so fast that
Hmm.
parents just aren't buying the new bikes quick enough, right? Or you're just like me and 5'11", 150 pounds on a small wheel 85,
Bone stock.
racing Zach Bell, who was 5'2", 90 pounds, soaking wet.
Dude, I still remember there was a K Rock Classic, and you look like you were just trying so hard, dude, just to get up. You know the big main step up,
Oh yeah.
and I remember Bell scrubbed underneath Jimmy to get around him, and it was the most disrespectful scrub I've ever seen. And just the difference between, dude, just your Tech 10s look like they weighed more than Zach Bell. Like you're like all you just look like your bike was just struggling. And this guy was just flying, dude, scrubbing everything, just pulling away, man.
Well, and that's probably, maybe that's a sign. If you're wearing Tech 10s and you're on a 65, maybe it's time to get off the 65. I have pictures of me at Winchester doing heel clickers on my KX65 in Tech 10s.
Size 12.
Yeah, my foot actually has got smaller since then. I don't know what happened. If you guys enjoyed that podcast clip, you can listen to full episodes on Apple Music and Spotify. And make sure, if you haven't already, join our community inside of the Moto Academy app. Go to themotoacademy.com today. I'll see you guys inside the community.